I recently got a request to talk about how I make the music for my videos. As you probably guessed, the music I use in the background for my videos is also the music I'm planning to use as the background music in my game. I use a software called FL Studio, and what I do with it is pretty simple for the most part. I select some virtual instruments, which can either be synthesizers or some kind of sample pack, and then I go on this grid and I can just plot down notes with the mouse. And I'm not an expert musician by any means, but I have enough knowledge of music theory that I can write a composed piece if I want to. For the mysterious Mazarin, I'm doing something a little different than I normally do. Instead of sticking to the grid and having a regular rhythm, a musical rhythm, and a melodic tone, I'm doing something a little bit more sloppy, a little more loose. And what I'm trying to do is create something that has more of an ambient noise, kind of a textural sound, or like an intuitive rhythm, rather than having a musical sound or a musical rhythm. Take this track, for example. What I'm going for here is to create a sound kind of like dripping water, like you're in a dark building in the middle of the night and there's water dripping everywhere. Maybe it's raining outside. The music is trying to evoke a setting, a certain place that you might be at, a certain atmosphere, a certain feeling you might have. So to break away from the grid, instead of plotting notes on the grid with the mouse, I'm using a MIDI controller, and it's the cheapest MIDI controller you can probably find. I just got the cheapest one I could find. And I'm not actually good at playing at all. I can still create the sounds that I want to, and that's the important thing. And almost all of the virtual instruments that I use are things that I downloaded free. So if you want to experiment with the same instruments, you can easily get them yourself. First thing is you need a DAW, digital audio workstation. I use FL Studio, but there's a whole ton of them out there. You can Google it. There's one or two that are totally free. There's a whole bunch of them that are inexpensive or have trial versions. Then you need VST plugins. Some plugins are specifically for mimicking certain types of studio equipment like EQs and compressors, but there's also a lot of virtual instruments, and I'm going to be focusing on the virtual instruments because that's how you get started. And for VST instruments, they break down roughly into two categories. One is a sound font, which is a collection of samples of individual notes. So whichever note you play on the keyboard, it plays the corresponding sample. A lot of times the samples are recordings of real instruments, so it has a realistic sound. And to make use of a sound font, you need a VST plugin that is a sound font player, and there's a few of those available for free. The other type of VST instrument is a virtual synth, and that's like a synthesizer. It uses a computer algorithm to generate a sound from scratch. A virtual synth is pretty cool because you can use it to create your own sounds by fiddling with parameters and stuff. So let me go through some of the sounds that I use. Meat bass. I love how organic it sounds. You can hear the slap of the string on the fingerboard, and you can hear the strings buzzing against the fingerboard. It's organic, and these are the type of sounds that you don't get with a synthesizer. It sounds very sloppy and real. This is a library of samples of real notes being played on an actual real instrument. And if you look at their website, they have a whole ton of free instruments just like this one. Here's one called SQ8L. It's a virtual synth, and it's modeled after an 80s FM synthesizer. So it's very versatile, and you can use it to make lots of great, annoying electronic sounding noises. What you're hearing here is actually two different instrument patches with different settings so that they sound different from each other. And that's one of the cool things about using a synth, is it's like mini instruments in one. I wanted to show this on the author's original website, but the original author is no longer hosting this anywhere, and now there's just various mirrors all over the internet. So if you Google it, you can still find it. Necromare Old Music Box. This is a sound font recorded from, an old music box. Necromare also has a lot of interesting sound fonts you can Google. So the notes sound really great, but also the sound font has the sounds of the gears cranking and stuff like that, which you can add for authenticity. Terrible piano. These are samples from an old, broken, out-of-tune piano, very atmospheric. Like the author points out, there are tons of good quality piano sound fonts on the internet, but sometimes the terrible piano is what you need to create the sound you want. But let's now try them out. So I'm in FL Studio, and I'm going to add let's try it. Alright, we need to take our MIDI controller down an octave here. Yep, there we go. Good bass sound. Alright, and on the other Sforzando. Terrible piano. Not tuned. And I'm getting a really bad delay because of the way I'm recording this for this video, so it's giving me a little bit of latency, which is making it a little bit difficult to play. Although, this MIDI controller is not that great, so it's not the best, even at the best of times. Alright, so we got our meat bass, we got the old music box, we got terrible piano, and the other one, SQ8L. Sometimes I pronounce it Squadle, because that's looks like that, doesn't it? So there's the default sound. Isn't that nice? Oh yeah, that's lovely, isn't it? Isn't it? Let's see if we can find like a more annoying. Oh yeah, that's good and annoying. Yes. Okay. So I like to start with the bass line. Let's get a piano roll going here on this. All right, let's try recording something. So I got a little simple bass line. So let's try recording it. I do notes and automation, and the tricky thing is you actually also have to click play. We'll try that. Just repeat it a few times. Selected a different channel. So now let's do a piano to go with that. And I don't know, what should we play for the piano? We'll do something a little. So we're kind of centered around this A minor chord. So I don't know. Higher up, maybe. Yeah, let's try something like that. I don't know. Alright, that sounded awful, but yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Alright, great. Perfect. Alright, music box. Once again, just making this up as I go along. Ooh, doesn't that sound fun? Alright, let's try. The last instrument we have here is our synthesizer. Oh, okay, that's That sounds like something from like Axiom Verge or something, if you've ever played that game. There we go. Now, we can assign each of these to a different mixer track. And let's see what we...
Mixing is when you take multiple tracks and adjust the sound so that they blend together properly.
We can do with that. I'll bring up the mixer. So, tracks 1 through 4, just the default drum patterns that I didn't use. But 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the instruments we just recorded. So I can play. Let's make the... So I can control the relative volume of all the instruments here. Making the synthesizers really annoying, so I'm just making that quiet. And followed by the piano. Alright, so I don't know, I think the yeah. Need a low pass filter on the music box, I think. Let's try that again. Just for fun, let's try putting a delay on the bass line. So you get the idea. And there's one more thing to do. Every track in the game has to pass the 10 times test. So put the music on in the background and go do something else. And if the music plays 10 times and you don't really notice it, that's okay. If it plays 10 times and it's starting to drive you up the wall, that means there's something just a little bit too noticeable about it, just a little bit too irritating. So you have to go back and make your music a little bit more in the background, a little bit less conspicuous. Smooth out any sort of errors or weird notes or anything like that.